Welcome back, everybody, to another Should You Watch Winter Anime 2023 Season Edition. I said that really weirdly, but we got the point across. And today, we are going to be discussing Chilling in My 30s after getting fired from the Demon King's army. To start off this episode, we are going to throw it to Christian as he summarizes the series.
Chillin in My 30s after getting fired from the Demon King's army is about a guy in his 30s by the name of Dariel who is seen to be the assistant of the four generals, similar to a concept of the four heavenly kings. There are always four peak members of any Demon King army. It starts off with him, of course, getting let go from said army and coming to terms with having to exist as not a member of the Demon King's army. Now, it sounds redundant and whatnot, but it just kind of is what it is. The big part of this, as we get to learn about the world, is that humans and demons look the same. They look humanoid. They have 2 arms, 2 legs, skin, normal stuff, like us folk here. And in fact,
ears or anything different?
No, nothing was too different. But if you look at the 3 of us here, any of us could be human or demon here, and the way you'd be able to tell is based on our ability to use magic. Now, Elaine, Jeremy, can you use magic?
No.
We are in fact human here, then all 3 of us cannot use magic. And sadly, this man, Dariel, could not use magic either. So they deemed him as being useless, and thus he must be let go. He then wanders the woods, becomes emaciated, dehydrated, because he can't fend for himself as he has just been a pleb member of an army for his entire existence. He runs into an anime girl whose name is Milk with a couple A's in it, and she is getting chased by Edamon. Yes, Edamon from Digimon. Spelled differently, looks different, and has an X over his heart, right where Dariel gets to stab him. She gets saved by him, and then he gets saved by her. She brings him to her house, feeds him, gets him a place to stay. Turns out her father is mayor and guildmaster for the Adventurers Guild of this small town in the middle of the woods. They trick him and force him to sign a contract to become an adventurer, to which he says, I can't, I'm a demon. And it is in this moment that, although Elaine pointed it out throughout the entirety of the opening, he is in fact a human.
A human.
Shock,
I mean, he never said it out loud. But
no, but in his head.
In his head.
Yeah, in his head, he was saying it. To be fair, he never told anyone else in the human world that he was a demon either.
That's true. Yeah.
Yes. So he's just chilling in this town, in the woods, and we get to find out what kind of antics he gets up to in his time there. I think that's a pretty good opening description.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much most of the first episode. A good chunk of it, except for the after credit scene, which is apparently really important in this show.
Yeah, it was the only after credit scene, and if we had started episode 2 without that after credit scene, we would have no idea what's going on because we got to meet the other adventurer of the town.
Yeah, and get like the explanation on what's like the next step and everything. And it literally just like starts in the next scene, assuming you watched it. But
yes.
So what are we thinking of in terms of the characters? Let's start with the main character, Dariel. Elaine?
I mean, he's literally like, but why? My job. And then he goes off and he's like, I guess I'm an adventurer now and you're my enemy. Wait, I'm not. It's okay. Is it okay? I don't know. Why is this girl always hitting on me? Let's get plants.
It's pretty like lockstep anime protagonist isekai thing, even though it's not an isekai, but it's basically an isekai.
Yes, it is isekai in that he is so accustomed to the demon world that being in the human world is foreign to him, thus making it a pseudo isekai.
Yes, and he's very, very much in the vein of typical isekai protagonist, like fish out of water kind of protagonist. And of course, he has the anime girl is fawning over him, and he wants none of it.
You said girls, but girl singular. There's one girl.
Well, there's a second one in the theme song. I'm sure it's gonna pop up at some point.
Yeah, but openings just have spoilers, just like this video. So
yeah,
spoiler alert in the middle of us talking.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, he's kind of a blank slate. Of course, he's good at pretty much everything he tries, and of course, he's like God's gift to the poor and the downtrodden, and
good at everything he does. He had masterclass in all 4 of the damage types that they had spoken to about that humans are able to do. Since they can't do magic, they have aura.
Yes, they have aura, and there is bludgeoning, piercing, stabbing, bludgeoning, piercing, slashing damage, and block. Those are your damage
or
types.
As they were said inside the show, slash, hit, sting, and guard.
Yes. Those are the damage types, and he has a perfect little diamond of aura use with those, and he's very, very strong.
Those Ivy spreads are insane.
Absolutely.
Get this man bred instantly. That's a Pokemon reference for you guys.
Wow.
Well, Malika's really trying.
Malika, that was her name, right? Not Milk with 2 A's.
So what do you think about our protagonist?
I think he is bog standard. I like that he is just chilling, in that he has this whole demeanor to himself where, despite being in a shonen protagonist role, he really has the older young adult mentality of just like, it's like, oh, I've done this, it's nothing special. I don't got to go nuts over it. Like, he doesn't like really react heavily to Malika's advances other than to just be like, oh, it's nice. Calm down a little bit. It's not the typical shonen, whoa, oh my God, she likes me. And I can't stand that. So I'm happy that we're not there.
Yes.
No nosebleeds.
No,
I mean, there was one in the 3rd episode, but I feel like it is a combination of the typical nosebleed and
head
also
trauma.
getting tackled. So.
So moving beyond Dariel as the character that we're discussing, what about the other characters? What do we think of them?
Well, there's only 2 other ones.
Yeah, I guess so.
Malika and her father are basically the main people we've encountered so far.
And Gashalita.
Gashalita? You mean Gashita?
Gashita.
Small gash?
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah. The one with grass on his head.
I like to forget about that guy.
The one who voice actor efforts were really odd choices, and I guess they were going for something, but it's very effeminate, like not to like try and put down effeminateness, but he was really putting forward like a certain air of arrogance to then have very effeminate efforts.
Yeah.
And by efforts, I mean the uhs and oohs and
When I think my favorite moment was literally when he tried to bounce his shoulder and he went,
Yeah, he tried to shoulder check the main character, and he really just
I thought he had stubbed his toe and stumbled into the other
it's just such a funny noise for this guy to like full on and then
fall back on it.
But yes, I mean he's a quick rival turned little bro.
Yes.
And I mean that's also pretty bog standard.
I liken him to another character from a different anime, Way of the House Husband. He reminds me of Masa, the blonde-haired guy who kind of hangs out with Tatsu the dragon. Calls him Aniki in the whole 9 yards. He just kind of has that energy of like arrogant pleb kind of energy.
Yeah.
And even Malika, I think she has an energy similar to a more ditzy and like more forwardly horny cowgirl from Goblin Slayer. She kind of gives me that kind of energy. I know you guys aren't too familiar with Goblin Slayer, but if you have watched Goblin Slayer at home, you're very familiar with second best waifu in Goblin Slayer.
She has a decent I mean she does have that like very horny forward kind of thing, and obviously there's certain attributes that they are heavily leaning the camera view into.
Yeah, like on the second
times.
episode they said hand holding, and I was just not having it.
Yeah, it's just too much. It's too far. But she does seem to have there's aspects to her where there's some headstrong aspects to her, and she's competent in a lot of different things.
Got some traditional female skills, like I can gather herbs and identify them, and I cook you meals.
She lifts trees.
I can identify as female.
I too can do waifu things.
Yes, she's super strong, but she's too scared to fight monsters. And it's not even... I think that would be where my issue with her comes, really, is that she says that she's cowardly against monsters, but there's nothing to, like, reason that. There's
nothing behind it.
There's no behind it. There's no, like, explaining. There's no depth to it. It is just, hey, I'm really strong, and you've seen me be really strong, but I'm too scared to fight. And that's
she just
annoying.
wanted to be saved by a big, strong man so that she could become a real waifu.
And that's what she's
all it
really...
is.
That's the role she's playing.
Yeah, that is it. And I'm sure whenever the second waifu choice gets integrated into the show, it'll just be the butting heads constantly thing back and forth. That's very typical.
Well, they did hint at a second waifu thing, and that kind of brings us into a whole new gaggle of characters. I mentioned them in the explanation at the beginning, but those 4 demon generals, the 4 heavenly kings, whose names escape me, there is a fire one, a presumably water one because she has blue hair and mermaid/siren-like features. There is a rising rope one, so he probably does magic. And then there is the other potential wife of the series who seemed to be on the side of Dariel and wanted to bring him back after they had 4 or 5 incompetent assistants.
Yes.
She, I think she Hey, maybe we should bring this guy back. He kind of ran a tight ship around here and made sure that things ran okay.
He was nice and he cared about us and told us well.
That is actually a consistent trope that I see from the style of anime. This is a consistent thing I see in adjacency to the isekai format is this pseudo isekai format where you have this person who has been destined to or has been a part of a grander scale thing who is told by the larger group of that grander scale thing that they are not fit for what the continuation of this endeavor is, and they must retire and go do something else. Like I've seen a few different mangas of like the guy in the hero's party goes and settles down in the middle of the forest with this other like princess from another kingdom that they pass through with the hero party, and so now he gets to spend time with her. There's one where he gets and stays with like an elven woman, and there's another one where like they quit the demon lord's army and start their own village, and here's another one where he gets fired from the demon general's group, and now he's finding out he's human. It's a whole subgenre in the fantasy style, and it is almost certainly a competent individual with low combat prowess in a traditional sense meeting a woman and successfully maintaining a small nothing village at a level beyond which the village should operate. That's just kind of how these things go. And it really feels like it's fitting to that same model, I guess would be the best.
So you're saying it's Lightning McQueen going into Radiator Springs?
It is almost exactly the Radiator Springs. So the first Kara movie is the closest to the pseudo isekai genre as I can get, but instead of a waifu, we get Larry the Cable Guy.
Yeah. We'll leave it up to you guys which one is the better deal. But
Pralisek.
I'm going to transition us into the art style. In terms of the art style, my thoughts on it are generic.
It's very basic. I think the only thing that's a little different is like some of the characters are like kind of wizened and weird looking proportionally. Like they, you know, when some characters are tired, they're just like, here's a line to indicate exhaustion, but like they actually make them look sickly and messed up, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. It definitely after our like leisure activity of watching Ranking of Kings before this, going into the generic art style of
Ranking of Kings, you absolutely should. Yeah. Please continue, Jeremy.
But after watching Ranking of Kings for leisure, not content, and then going and watching this for content purposes, it was definitely a large discrepancy between art styles.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything to write home about it. I mean, it's your pretty standard fantasy/isekai art style.
Yeah, to Elaine's point, though, it does move away from that classic like shonen tropey style. Like Dariel looks like a dude.
Yeah, that's true. He does look more normal than your average protagonist.
Yeah, Malika and Gashita are the two anime-looking individuals. Not to say that none of these characters look like they're in an anime. They're all in an anime. But they look like the different colored hair and a certain style with flashier outfits and a lot of color scheme that makes it
bigger
pop.
eyes.
Bigger
and
eyes and whatnot, yeah.
Gashita looks like a mix of, I think, his name's Rolf and Rebecca from Fire Emblem.
I could see that.
So Rebecca from Fire Emblem and Rolf from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Yeah, I could see that put together.
There's a Rolf in Fire Emblem. He's like a shifter cat with like a weird hat and blue hair.
That's called a bit.
You know what?
But
everyone makes fun of me.
Life has many doors, Ed boys. Life has many bits, Elaine.
So we've covered most of the major aspects of this show. In terms of a should you watch, what do we think about should the viewers at home watch this? Elaine?
No, I'm going to say I was pretty bored, and also I feel like it's not living up to expectations. Like, this guy isn't chilling enough. He needs to like take a nap or some stuff. He's always adventuring and doing stuff.
He does
relax.
do a lot.
Go fishing. Like, sled down a hill. I don't know.
He did do the rock sledding thing.
You said that as if it was a big deal, and it was definitely a 4-second scene.
Yeah.
So you shush, Jeremy.
What do you think?
I think that if you're looking for a basic fantasy anime to fill that hole in your heart that says, I could really just watch some anime right now, I think this is an acceptable watch. Do I think that this has any huge merit that would make it a memorable experience and garner a season 2 necessary? Not at all. Not at all. This could all wrap up in the next 4 episodes, and we'd probably be all the better for it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to watch this. I mean, like Christian was saying, if you're just looking for something to watch that's that fantasy genre, kind of isekai adjacent stuff, you're not going to go wrong with it, but I don't think it's going to be anything. I was kind of waiting for us to get through it, honestly.
It's something to put on. That's about it. And
the campfire cooking one's better.
Absolutely. I think campfire cooking, check that out, Kinky Boots. To compare it, I would say of our series of Should You Watch so far, I do believe that campfire cooking in another world using my absurd skills is the better option for the winter 2023 fantasy genre.
Absolutely. But if you want to continue seeing our thoughts on this, please let us know that you're enjoying it by liking the video. Leave a comment down below. What of your favorite anime that you've watched in the winter 2023 anime season so far? Let us know. Have you seen this show? Let us know. And subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of this content going forward, and ring that bell so you know what's up. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Ding, ding.
You didn't say goodbye.
You gotta say bye. You say goodbye, then I say ding, ding. That's how that works.